We're about to go ahead and dive deep into a particular topic that we've been knowing for a while. I mean, I'm telling you, a lot of our motivational leaders, right? People who have paved the way for us to be able to see more into things, more depth, more of an understanding on what's going on in our society and how we need to stand up for ourselves in our own rights. We have people like Marcus Garvey, Huey P. Newton, people of this nature, of this magnitude, that has fallen victim to and victimized not only by the CIA but the U.S. government, right? Our intergovernmental system. But recent events, of course, have really exposed how they mobilize and they actually weaponize situation and world events to take out some of the most influential people that we have in front of us. Honestly, tell you the truth, this whole Charlie Kirk situation and what we was able to observe from this whole ordeal is that somebody who's a public figure was assassinated, right? In open public, in open format. They were taken out, they were eliminated, and they were pressed on a certain level. Now that changed the fabrics of our reality quite a bit. Like, it really adjusted some things for us. It really gave us more of an insight as to how somebody could systematically eliminate another individual because they did not agree with their viewpoints any longer, or maybe they could not be manipulated or controlled on the same level. I mean, we heard it about Kanye West from this particular personal trainer who was threatening him in regards to sending him back to a mental institution and drugging him, dosing him, and drugging him up. We've heard it, and we've really taken it in a way as to where, honestly, not really serious. But now it's like this Charlie Kirk situation and how Candace Owens is really revealing, peeling back the layers of the truth. Now we're starting to listen. Our ears are a little bit more perked up. And now we're ready to receive and are open to receive the truth about our intergovernmental system. Welcome back to the Warsheep podcast. Let's get it.
Preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of it, of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
All right, y'all. So I listened in on a recent interview or podcast or conversation that Candace Owens and Russell Brand was having in regards to the situation and topic of Charlie Kirk, but also the media, how the media was trying to rewrite history by its publications, right? Submitting publications and trying to like I said, redirect everything and redirect the minds of the people. Let's take a listen in.
Who benefits from Charlie Kirk being killed? I also know that whenever I've seen it my whole life, a lone gunman killed RFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I know that's a lie, so
Yeah.
I'm open.
Look, I can tell you that from the moment that Charlie got shot, and I can't explain it. And maybe it's because Charlie would tell me all the time that he was going to die young, and I showed those messages, and I knew it was big. I didn't have the players. I certainly didn't suspect Turning Point USA would be, as I believe, involved in a cover-up. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him, but I do believe that they have betrayed him since, and I am comfortable saying that today because I know that they have told lies. I know that they have withheld information that if truly you were motivated by goodness and truth, you would come out and you would say it. Like, there are people at Turning Point who Charlie texted the night before and said they're going to kill me. If you're trying to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk, wouldn't that be a good thing to come forward with and to the public and say Charlie thought that he was going to be murdered the night before? And they are being very strange about details on that day. And so it's the absence of answering and the blaming and the yelling that feels off to people. And I think that's fair. I think spiritually, people are sensing, their intuition is coming online and saying, this just doesn't feel right.
Now, in this whole thing, right, the intuition coming online and people feeling like, man, something just don't feel right now. Something seems off about this whole situation with Charlie Kirk and how he was assassinated. and which, of course, Candace has been on a crusade to figure out who actually was behind the whole assassination. And we know that the FBI and other governments, right, including Egypt and France, it also had some sort of hand to play in it. Like they were kind of involved, but not openly, expressly mentioned to be involved. But peeling back some of the layers that Candace has been peeling back, we've been seeing a lot of different things taking place, like the Egyptian airplanes, and also, of course, France having their own position and stance. Not only that, not to mention the Zionists, Israel. I'll talk about them often, right, on this platform. Like I said, there's Israel, people in Israel who disagree with the Zionist agenda. I'm mostly speaking about the Zionists, right? The Zionists who have their own personal agenda, their world agenda to be able to do what they're doing. They've had a hand to play in this in some sort of some way. Rhyme or reason, Charlie Kirk was trying to turn away from Israel because they saw the mass genocide of a people over in Gaza, which is something he could not get behind or continue to support, which I don't blame him. But my thing is this, y'all. I believe that when we take a look to observe the situation when it comes to Huey P. Newton, when it comes to Marcus Garvey, when it comes to these individuals, right, who were gunned down by our intergovernmental system, you got to know. Let's just take Huey P. Newton, for example. Let's take a listen as to what he actually went through during his time on this earth, right? What took place, what happened. Let's take a listen.
A man whose name became synonymous with black militancy in the 1960s was shot to death early this morning in Oakland, California. Huey Newton, a co-founder of the Black Panther Party, had been shot several times. He was 47. Here's ABC's Brian Rooney.
Newton's body was found before dawn in a pool of blood on a West Oakland sidewalk. Police said he had 3 bullet wounds in the head. Newton's wife's car was parked and locked just 30 feet away. The former radical died miles from his own home in a troubled neighborhood where drug deals and gunshots are common.
He was a hero figure in our eyes, something to look up to. And it's just, like I said, sad that he was reduced to being slain in the streets of West Oakland.
Huey Newton sprang to national prominence in 1966 as one of the founders of the Black Panther Party in Oakland. Openly and legally armed with rifles and shotguns, Panthers followed Oakland police officers on patrol to enforce fair treatment of black people on the city streets.
The people have been enslaved too many years. The chains must be removed, so help us, God.
The Panther philosophy was that black Americans could legally defend themselves against oppression.
You had a knack of taking civil disobedience and putting it on the cutting edge.
Several Panthers went to prison, and the group said 28 members died in confrontations with police. The rest went on to other things. Bobby Seale recently wrote a cookbook, but Huey Newton spent time in jail for possession of drug paraphernalia and embezzling money from an Oakland community school. The man who once brought food to children stole from them. Police haven't said who killed Huey Newton or why. Brian Rooney, ABC News, San Francisco.
They have no reason, I guess, to say or tell you who did it, right? Shot 3 times in the face. Somebody who's a revolutionary, who honestly the FBI harassed. They tarnished his reputation. They tore down his character, things like that. They made him paranoid while he was here on this earth. They made his life a living hell as much as they possibly could, just based on his position of wanting to set free the minds of the people, set free the minds of you and I, set free the minds of the melanated community, right? We can go on and on down the list. I wanted to bring him up, but of course, Malcolm X was also gunned down. We have Martin Luther King gunned down. You understand what I'm saying? And so a lot of this stuff reflects on a lot. My thing is that the worst case, the worst situation. So one of the worst cases that I've seen was a guy by the name of Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was actually someone who was murdered, okay, in cold blood. And my thing is that with Fred Hampton and the way that he was assassinated, the way that he was murdered, should have told us everything we needed to know about our intergovernmental system and what they're capable of and what they're willing to do. So, following the assassination of JFK, following the assassination of Martin Luther King, following the assassination of Malcolm X, and many others, right, who are advocates of things that are honestly righteous and freedom and just, things like that. These assassinations, we should have seen the story of Fred Hampton and known what our intergovernmental system was capable of then. Let's take a listen as to what went on with Fred Hampton, y'all. Let's take a listen.
December 4th, 1969. Akua Njeri was 19 years old and sleeping next to her fiance, the Illinois Black Panther Party chairman, Fred Hampton.
The next thing I remember was someone in our room shaking Chairman Fred. Chairman, wake up, wake up. Plaster was flying off the wall. You could smell the cordite from the gunshot. If you've ever been under gunfire, 5 minutes is 5 hours. To you, it seems like forever. The shooting started back again. Then another voice unfamiliar to me said, "He's good and dead now." I knew they were talking about Chairman Fred.
Fred Hampton was murdered by his government. But before that, he was a leader in a movement practicing a new kind of activism. A movement targeted because of its power to unite people.
Now, so Fred Hampton was murdered in cold blood, shot and murdered by his own government. As you see here, this is what they were reporting on. And my thing is this, y'all, is that, this has happened time after time after time with individuals who are influential in the community. So when Candace Owens is coming out and testing the narrative and pushing back against things that are being pushed on us to be able to believe, we got to absorb the falsehoods of things where it's to where people like herself is bringing forth the truth. Is the reason why she has number one podcast in the world, really, is because of the level of truth that she's looking to breathe and how she's bravely and boldly challenging the narrative. And they just really hate it. They don't like it. I'd band with her in that because truth is the only thing that should reign as supreme in the world, period. Anything else that is not the truth should hold no currency, should hold no weight. You should be able to back your truth with receipts, and things should be able to hold as being tangible. And your voice should be strong and should forever be strong. You understand? Now, this has been the end results of a lot of our leadership, a lot of individuals who are willing to push the truth. I just named a few. But this situation should have painted the picture, paved the road, gave us a better understanding as to what the intergovernmental system is willing, the lengths that they're willing to go through in order to silence the truth, in order to control the narrative, in order to control the people in entirety. The situation with Huey P. Newton or with Fred Hampton, and how they went out of their way to murder, assassinate him. Right? This is known information. This is the reason why he's not taught about in your school systems, is because of the simple fact is the level of clarity and understanding that the situation would bring an uprising, an inspiration to understand that your government is not all for you. Don't know when you're going to realize this, right? But instead, people do give Candace Owens a bad rap because she does tell the truth. I say more power to her. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get to this next one, right? Where we're actually talking even more about what the truth is, coming from, of course, Russell Brand and Candace Owens. Let's take a listen to what they had to say in regards to our media, in regards to our country, whatever it may be, man, what we can trust and what we can't trust. Let's take a listen, y'all.
Gunman.
The sheep.
publications. They are obsessed with publishing because they can rewrite history. That is why you cannot trust the mainstream media, because that is one of their tools, is we're going to rewrite history. Not even history, they're rewriting present. I say something and they completely lie about what I've said, and they're like, Candace said this, and I'm like, okay, well, I definitely don't believe you about anything in terms of World War I, World War II, what happened in Syria yesterday, what's happening in Syria tomorrow, because if you can't even tell the basic truth about what we are observing with our own eyes today, about what's happening in Gaza, why should I believe you about anything else? You know, I have always felt that truth carries a more powerful frequency. That's why they require our silence. The lie has to be repeated over and over and over again, because it's a weaker frequency. Because then when someone comes in with the truth, they just have to say that once, and people go, that sounds right.
Discernment. And that's what it's called. It's called discernment, y'all. When we're hearing these things, we have seen over this whole case, this whole situation, and all of the different layers that's being peeled back by Candace Owens, and of course the Charlie Kirk situation, our eyes being wide open. Now our ears are perked up and we're listening closely. And we're trying to identify, are we truly under attack? In this country, is our intergovernmental system turning on us, as we have other countries that are having their governments resign, right? My thing is that has the government become too powerful to where now they're totally and completely out of control, that they are not submitted to we the people, but they are now their own separate entity that can be weaponized against the American people at any given Sunday. I'm very curious about this. And my thing is this, right, y'all, is that we've seen this thing slowly unfold, understanding that the people are the ones who should be in control. They are nothing but public servants. They should be serving the public, but they don't serve the public. They serve themselves. They're in bed with Zionists, AIPAC Zionists, who line their pockets and fund their genocides. So when we hear stuff like this coming from individuals, right, who is trying to tell you the truth because they actually care about the state of where we're at here in this country, when they're speaking about these particular topics, you got to know that they're not safe, right? You got to know that these individuals are put on certain lists, like, you know, of course, allegedly she's on a particular list. So let's keep it a buck. When you're a truth teller, when you're a truth speaker, when you are somebody who shines light on darkness, there's always an opportunity to put a hit out on you, because you, sir, can motivate individuals to stand up for what is right and to not fold or capitulate to the things that don't align with the truth. Appreciate y'all joining me here for the Warsheep podcast. Don't forget to like this video, y'all. Comment and subscribe and holler back at your boy. We'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Peace and shalom, shalom.
Talking loud, talking big, but we see through the snake. Got you in my heart, we don't bend, we don't break. Never thought she been a fold, yeah, we watch how they shake, shake, shake. Yeah. See in front and man claiming holy, holy. Twisting scriptures, yeah, they line so phony, so phony. Mask on the face, right in the